other top story tonight, the man charged with killing Jane Bashara was sentenced. Joseph Gens will spend the next 17 to 28 years in prison. As part of a plea deal, Gens is set to testify against Bob Bashara if, of course, he's ever charged in his wife's murder. Before Gens was sentenced, though, he apologized to Jane Bashara's family.
I am very, very sorry for what happened. I'm asking for the family forgiveness for what I have done. My family for forgiveness for what I put them through, my friends, and everybody else.
Our family feels very strongly that this is not over with the sentencing of Mr. Gens. Mr. Gens had no motive to murder our sister Jane, and we believe his statement that he was coerced into murdering her.
All right, tonight 7 Action News has obtained the forensic report that could link Jane Bashara's husband to her murder. This is a story you'll see only here on 7.
Action News reporter Smitha Kaloki joins us now live from our newsroom. Ms. Smitha, what does the report say?
Well, Stephen and Carolyn, this is the exclusive DNA report that sheds new light into Jane Bashara's death. Now, it clearly links Joe Gens to the crime scene. But tonight, we are learning that a sample of blood taken from the Bashara garage shows a mix of Jane and Bob's DNA.
I can't think of many other explanations for why that would be there unless it could have been from a previous altercation where both of their DNA was mixed.
For 14 years, Ann Chamberlain, a former Michigan State Police forensic scientist, has examined DNA testing. After reviewing a report obtained exclusively by 7 Action News, she says the mixture of Bob and Jane Bashara's DNA on blood found in their Grosse Pointe Park garage shows at the very least some altercation occurred between the two, even if we don't know the age of the sample.
If the victim is bleeding from this incident and there's a combination of DNA from the victim and from Bob, that would indicate that they had some contact during the period of time where she's bleeding.
Chamberlain also says samples taken from the Bashara home and Jane's luxury SUV where her body was found help corroborate handyman Joe Gens' story. Gens has previously told others that Bob Bashara forced him to kill Jane by strangling her, at one point placing his boot on her neck. This report shows Gens and Jane's DNA were found on the bottom of his right boot.
That does for sure explain that story that he's given.
Chamberlain says that according to the report, evidence taken from under her fingernails on her left hand also suggests that there was a struggle between Jane and Gens.
The hands are used in defense, so if the victim happens to scratch the perpetrator or even comes in contact with their bodily fluid on their skin, it can end up in the fingernail bed.
Now again, this report does not directly pin Bob Bashara to the case, but Chamberlain says the blood sample taken from the garage suggests that there was likely some altercation between him and his wife. Now she also tells us that even old samples can show history of violence. We of course reached out to Bob Bashara's attorney, but he declined to comment on this report. From the newsroom, Smitha Kaloki, 7 Action News.